Hello, today is July 1st, 2020, and my name is Eliza de Vries. I am an evolutionary spiritual astrologer. I am a medium, and I am an intuitive. I also work as a healer, and I teach healing, give healings, and have done a lot of work with humans, animals, Mother Earth, and humanity as a whole. So today I would like to talk about the lunar eclipse, which will be on the 4th and 5th, depending on where you live, in Capricorn. And the lunar eclipses are when the sun or moon at a state of being a new moon or a full moon happen to conjunct or be within a certain radius of the nodes. Now that may sound like Greek to you, but what happens with eclipses, and this is the third one we've had over the last 5 weeks, is the energies become incredibly intensified. So whatever is the message is such a strong resonance that it stays with us for the next 6 months. So it's important to pay attention to eclipses because, as you will notice, even on a full moon, any hospital will tell you that the psych wards become absolutely filled with people because they're so sensitive to the intensification of energy, and it can set people off and they end up being filled up on those nights. But on the times of the lunar eclipse, it's even more powerful, even more well, we've been feeling all week. I'm sure you've all been feeling since the solar eclipse a tremendous escalation, not only within your own being, but within your friends, what's been going on in our world. And Jupiter has moved back, and we'll talk about that, to conjunct Pluto again for the second time. So at this time, we have 5 planets retrograde, some of which are not moving at all. So they're just sitting at that same degree and pulsating. And that's much stronger effect on our energy system. We have got 5 of them right now. We have Jupiter, we have Pluto, we have Saturn, all in Capricorn. Saturn has moved back out of Aquarius into Capricorn. Jupiter has moved back to conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. And the Sun and, Mercury and Neptune are also retrograde. Mercury being retrograde in Cancer. And at the same time, we have, with this lunar eclipse, Mars has moved into Aries. And Mars not only will be in Aries for more than 2 months, because the average time that Mars stays in a sign is 2 months, and then it moves energetically on into the next sign. Well, it's just moved into Aries last Saturday, and it's going to be there for a full 6 months. So with this full 6-month period of the lunar eclipse, when we're still feeling the dynamic effects of the lunar eclipse, we're going to have Mars with us. And in Aries, it's a fierce warrior spirit. Catalytic energy, fiery, cardinal, which means it's got a restless energy to it, and initiating energy of a new life. So to take a look at the chart, I thought you might like to see the chart. I'm going to put the chart up beneath my name so that you'll be able to actually study the chart in its entirety. But I thought today, because I am an intuitive psychic and also an astrologer, that I would look at the aspects and then choose a card from the deck intuitively that would be symbolic of what is going to come down over the next 6 months. What is the energy that's being set in motion? So the first thing I'm going to look at is the Jupiter conjunct Pluto. Now Jupiter is a magnifier. Jupiter, whatever Jupiter's near, it makes it bigger. It makes it broader, it makes it more expansive, it brings more energy to it. And Jupiter being in Capricorn is conjuncting Pluto. So Pluto, as we know, the ruler of Scorpio, is a highly intensified, higher expression of Mars. Initially, Mars was the ruler of Scorpio until Pluto was discovered in the heavens. And then Pluto was attributed to Scorpio. So there's a heightened awareness of power that we're going to feel. We're going to feel a lot of power struggles within ourselves. We're going to be feeling a battling with our own structure of how we have created our life and set up our life. That's Capricorn. Capricorn is, these are the rules you've created for your life. This is the reputation that you've sought in this life. These are the standards by which you live. This is the work that you have chosen. And with Jupiter there, we're taking a darn good look at it. And with Saturn coming back there to hit Pluto and Jupiter, we're even greater look at karma, what the karma of our choices. So, if you have been looking at your life during this lockdown period, or this period of inability to work in the same fashion or live in the same fashion, or whatever, however it's affected you and your family, what have you noticed about your own existence? What have you noticed about your own manner of living and the way you've set your life up? Have you gotten some strong wake-up calls recently? I know I have. I know the people around me have. I know my children have. So if you think of Pluto as being what Pluto is doing is blasting apart what were the traditional structures and the government structures and the banking systems and the way things are done. And Pluto's come along and said, okay, I want to encourage you now to break out of your own negative patterns and try to start a new way of living. Try to simplify your life. Jupiter ruling spirituality and higher-minded activities. How about moving into more spirituality? And it doesn't mean you have to go around saying namaste or becoming super proselytizing. What it means is the true generosity of your heart, the true essence of kindness, forgiveness, the understanding of the giving tree. If you've ever read that book, that giving tree that started out as a big tree and every year as it got older gave a part of itself away until all that was left was a little stump, and then it had died. And so it had spent its whole life giving away all it had. And that was kind of the essence of Jupiter on Pluto, is time to give it away. Time to share what you have. Time to look around and see who's got problems. How can you make it better? What can you do to enlarge the structure and the capability of the lives around you? We think only of, in the Western world, there's been a tremendous emphasis on looking out for number one, and materialism and the aggressive ambition of competitiveness. So this, I'm going to draw a card to be symbolic of what this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is all about. What is our message? We're going to look at this card and we're going to say, how does this card speak to me? So I'm going to choose a card from the deck. So here's the soul. In a sense of isolation, soulfulness, loneliness, introspection to the nth degree. Here is the cocoon. You could see the edging around the soul as it is it's not looking outward. It's not an action card. So this is Pluto bringing you inward. Pluto retrograde right now, conjuncting Jupiter, bringing you inward and saying, are you reflecting? If you are reflecting, what are you reflecting about? And now let's ask for the gift of that conjunction of Pluto and Jupiter. What is the gift that's going to come through inner reflection? The gift from our most divine soul connected to our Holy Spirit. What is the gift that it wants to give to us through reflection? This is a magnificent card. And here's the soul looking down into the face of this is us. And here's the soul looking down into the face. And the soul's, this is just infinite love, infinite tender mercy. The color magenta in Aura-Soma means putting love into every single thing you do, every act you have. So the restructuring comes through showing love and divine mercy to all of life, to the earth, to the trees, to the oceans, to the creatures, to the tiniest of beings. I remember reading lately a mystic saying that until we have absolute sublime mercy for every single thing that walks and moves and breathes on this earth, we are not in a state of transcendental consciousness. So even that little beetle or that spider that you find or whatever it is, it has life. It has a divine resonation within its being. All of life. So that is the gift that will be given to you, is the gift of holy divine mercy. That's my doggy. He's always going up or going down, aren't you, Bingo? Okay, the next we're going to look at is the entry of Mars into Aries. And it's going to be at the time of the lunar eclipse, squaring Mercury retrograde in Cancer. That could bring about an inner edginess, an inner angst, an inner, we want to say things, we're holding things back, or we have buried resentments, and the Mars in Aries wants to blurt it out, the Mercury in Cancer wants to hide it away. So how do we achieve a balance with that? How do we work with buried resentment or irritation or anger in the moment and show the wisdom and live from the sense of strength and inner guidance? How do we do that when we're feeling all that angst? So here she is. This is the issue. She or he is standing at the door, hands on the hips. It's a very aggressive posture. Somebody that wants to really blast somebody else. Somebody that's fed up, coming out of the cave. They want to get out of that cave. They're impatient, angry. You know how you are when you stand like that and look at somebody. What is the gift if we learn how to translate the energy of that into a positive activity? What is the gift of that? Mars in Aries over the next 6 months. Well, this is such a beautiful card. Look at the difference in the cards when we ask the challenge and then we ask the gift. This is the card of allowing the soul, the wisdom self, the loving sweetness of the soul to embrace you in those times, and looking to the soul. Look how she's looking up to the soul for guidance. And the soul is giving her, turquoise is the color of communication. So the soul is giving her a divine way of communicating. Now that might not all be just sweet talk. It could be that we decide to retire back from a situation, or we decide to listen to that person until they've completely finished, and then wait for a time to speak what is we've been holding in our heart for a long time. But we're doing it from a place of sweet guidance from within. We're not being reactive. We are being introspectively hearing and listening within before we speak. So that's the message on that one. It's very beautiful. Okay, let's go on to the sun opposite the moon. The lunar eclipse itself at 13 degrees, 37 minutes. The sun in Cancer, the moon in Capricorn. What is the challenge of that lunar eclipse? What is coming up in us? Cancer is a very nurturing, loving, motherly, tender sweetness, cave-like. It likes its cave. It's the first water sign, so it's very private, very introverted, very needing a lot of stillness. It's a mother card. It's a subconscious card. It rules the 4th house in astrology, which is the behind-the-scenes subconscious part of our being. The moon, which is the ruler of Cancer, happens to be in its fall in Capricorn. Moon in Capricorn is not sitting comfortably when it's in Capricorn. And so the moon is in a sign of taking the emotions, and they're feeling very crystallized and strong and enclosures around what we're feeling. Let's see what the challenge of that will be. Okay, the challenge is how to carry forward the torch. How to carry the torch out there. How do I carry my own fire? How do I walk in the world and move forward with my creative fire? This is the challenge from this lunar eclipse, with the Mars in Aries squaring the Mercury in Cancer, and the Sun being in Cancer, and the Mars in Aries squaring Moon in Capricorn. So you've got this Martian energy, which is the fire, in between, and this person is wanting to do the right thing and to be a guardian angel to others, Cancer, but how to do it? How to do it? What is the gift? What is the solution to that? What is the solution to that? Because this is a strong eclipse. No, it's not sitting exactly on Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, but it is by sign in the same element, Earth, cardinal Earth, Capricorn. Structures, traditions, all the social structures we can think of, churches, belief systems. What is the way out? Because for every challenge, there's always a way out. And usually that way out is not our first reaction, and it's not usually what we perceive it to be through our senses. It's usually coming, as I said, with all these 5 retrograde planets, that answer is coming from within. So we have an amazing opportunity on this lunar eclipse to really sit down and do an incredible list of what we feel are our personal challenges right now, and how to be more tender and loving, not only to ourselves, but how to be more merciful to others and to all of life. Ah, this is so beautiful. Look at the difference in the cards. So this is, we are integrating the male and female within ourselves. We're acknowledging the divine feminine, Cancer, with the divine masculine, which is related to Saturn, the father, the mother, but also we're going forth in the world. But look how beautiful. We have each other's back. So instead of feeling that we're separate as we go forward, we know as we go forward that we're still linked to others, and we have this sweet, sweet feeling of oneness. And that's the key, is to keep seeking the oneness, to keep seeking ways that you can release the angst, release the I know best, I'm on my pedestal, I think this, I think that. We're releasing all of that, and we're listening, and we're trying to get over this polarity and understand that there is only one humanity, and of that one humanity, we are all one. Okay, and the other thing that I'd like to comment on is that the North Node will now be for 18 months in Gemini. So our greatest, we're getting a sense right now. We're getting a sense right now that we need to learn more. We need to broaden our scope of what's going on and what other people think and feel. The South Node being in Sagittarius, the South Node, when you look at the North and South Nodes in astrology, the North Node is the head of the dragon, the South Node is the tail. The South Node is where we're coming from. The North Node is where we are to lean towards, reach towards. So the challenge of the South Node is to be too much clinging to your own belief systems. I'm not talking about an inner value system related to your soul, related to divine truth. I'm talking about the belief systems of what you think is right and wrong, and judgment, and I'm right, and you listen to me, and all of that negative aspect of Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is a very beautiful, Jupiter-ruled, positive, uplifting, funny, expansive sign. But its shadow side is what we're looking at when we look at the South Node in Sagittarius. And that is opinionated and can be arrogant and can be not listening to others. So let's look at what the challenge of the North and South Node are, and we'll end with that today. So here's the challenge. The challenge is, don't tell me anything. I'm not listening to you. I know already what I want to say. There's our South Node in Sagittarius. I'm closed off. I'm not available. I'm covering my body. I'm shut off. I'm right. I'm in my tower of beliefs. And the solution out of that is the North Node in Gemini. What's the highest and best expression of that North Node in Gemini? I'm not talking about the shadow side of Gemini. I'm talking about the North Node, where we're reaching for as souls globally, all of us. See the difference? These two have their heads together. There's a sweetness, and they're listening from the heart to each other. They're hearing the heart of the other, and they're in sweet harmony. Words do not even necessarily have to be said here. It's like sometimes, and you know yourself, when you're sitting in a room and there's a lot going on, and if you just sit in a room and look around the room and feel what people are going through, let your heart open. You don't have to take it on, you're just opening with mercy to understand better so that you can connect better. I remember once I was at a horse show, and I do a lot of healing work through my eyes and from the heart when I'm sending out healings. So it's not just the hands. The hands are beautifully, wonderfully useful, but through the eyes we can do a lot of healing. You know yourself, look into an animal's eyes when it loves you, or another person's eyes, or horse's eyes, dolphin's eyes, sheer love and delight and joy. You can do a lot through the listening. So I happened to see a woman at the horse show 3 rows down from me, and this woman was covered in burns, and she had scars all over her head. And you could just see the back of her neck that she had 3rd-degree burns all over her body, and that she was horribly, horribly self-conscious about it. So I sat there and I said, God, please help me to be a conduit to see the radiant beauty of her, and that she feels beautiful through sending love from my heart and through my eyes. And I sat there, and as I sat there and sent the love and sent the joy and sent the acceptance exactly as she was, she being so hypersensitive, she turned around and she looked into my eyes. And I just kept looking into her eyes. She had the most beautiful eyes, the most soulful eyes, the most tender, sensitive eyes. And I looked and I looked, and I sent her so much love from my heart. And she just took her head like that, and she just said, thank you. And it changed her whole demeanor. I saw her later at the show for the rest of the day, and she was intermingling with confidence and love and acceptance of herself. So I'd like to end on that. Out of this, we need to do this. We need to stop being so darn divisive, and we need to start looking for that radiant inner beauty in each other. It is there. Stand in that place within yourself. Take a candle, put it in front of the mirror, and look at yourself with that same love and acceptance, and say, I love you, I accept you, I forgive you, I'm behind you. And do that for a while, and let yourself shed some tears. And then the smiles will return. Thank you so much for staying with me through this video. I send you so much love and divine energy, and we all can tap into it. I'm not the only one. And if you would like a reading from me on how this affects your life, your chart, the next 6 months of your life, just write me at Angelic Mercy44 @gmail.com, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. God be with you.